Welcome to the Lead Pedal Podcast with your host, Bruce Outridge, where he talks all things trucking. Now let's get rolling.
How's everybody doing today? Welcome to another edition of the Lead Pedal Podcast. Our series for this week is immigrant workers in the Canadian transportation industry. This is a hot topic, no matter who you talk to, no matter what side of the border you're on. And we're going to share some of the opportunities, the reality, and what's up for the road ahead for immigrant workers. They are needed in the industry, my friends, but we need good drivers. We need good people who are willing to be in the industry. They are not the problem. They're often most vulnerable workers in the system for a number of reasons. We're going to explore that today. We're going to talk about some of the opportunities that are available. We're going to talk about some of the things you need to look out for, like misclassification, driver ink, and we're also going to talk about how you could possibly get into the system and protect yourself in the long term. So if you're someone who's looking at coming into the North American trucking industry and you are from outside of that industry and outside of the country, then you really want to pay attention to this series. It's going to be part 1, 2, and 3, and that's going to be happening over the next couple of episodes. So we suggest you subscribe to keep up with everything that's going on. Hey, before we get started, let's tell you about one of our great sponsors here, Harnois Énergies. Did you know, you guys have probably know, if you're part of the trucking industry in North America, you've probably been to this former truck stop at exit 230 in Woodstock, Ontario. Well, Harnois Énergies has taken that over. They're turning it into an SO card lock, and it's going to be an awesome place where it's going to have restaurants, going to have convenience stores, going to have propane and diesel fuel parking, going to have a mechanic on site, and it's going to have a number of places for you to park and relax and get everything you need. So you want to make sure that you get your SO card. Go to harnoisenergies.com is the best way to do that. All right, let's get into our episode today on immigrant workers and what you need to look out for.
Be sure to share the podcast on your favorite social media channels.
All right, so let's start out with what's going on here. So lots of things are happening. There's a labor shortage, whether you believe there's a driver shortage or not. Our labor pool does not have enough people in it for all the jobs that are available. Now, whether people want to work at those jobs, whether those jobs are viable, that's a whole nother discussion. But really, there is a labor shortage across, and it's changed the way that jobs are done. It's changed the way that businesses are done. And a lot of times trucking is marketed as a way to get into the country quickly because there are so many jobs available. Now, we're going to be talking about that down the road. But a lot of immigrants do choose the trucking industry. Because you can get in fairly fast, even if you come to the country and, you know, you've got all that immigration stuff figured out. In 6 to 8 weeks, you can have your license and be driving up down the road. Now, I don't suggest that. We all know that that's the issue, that we have a lot of problems with safety on our roads. But for someone who's coming into the country, it's probably one of the quickest careers that they can get into. They can make decent money depending on what they're doing, compared to a lot of other ones which need more training, and we are talking about that. Red Seal, all of that is hot topics in the industry right now. They can get into their community networks. So a lot of times when people come to a country, they come and they try to go to where people like them are. So, you know, I know in the Quebec areas, a lot of people went to the Hamilton area back when my wife immigrated from, didn't immigrate, but came from Quebec to Ontario. A lot of people who are coming from India are going towards the Brampton area because, you know, there's a lot of their own, you know, things that they would do at home. There's India, there's temples, and there's people that understand and speak the same language and understand the food and all that kind of stuff. So there's lots of stuff that are happening. And the problem is that they get caught up in a lot of things. So there's a limited understanding of the Canadian labor laws. People are just trying to come in, especially if you're coming in from and I get it, okay? My parents were immigrants, so I was born here, but I understand why you're coming to somewhere to get a better life. You know, you're just, you know, some of these in today's world, we're talking war-torn countries, we're talking places with a lot of upheaval and political unrest and all that kind of stuff. And so people are just trying to make a better life. They're trying to do things things right. Some of them are coming here for school to get better education. So there's a lot of things going on. But when they come here, and they're coming here usually in either quite a hurry, or they're coming in not understanding all the different laws, then they can get caught up in working for the wrong people, or in the wrong types of programs or scams or whatever you want to call it, and that actually hurts them down the road. The pressure to accept poor pay or unsafe conditions because you're new to the country, you don't understand it, you're just trying to get a job, you'll take anything that's available. Because if you think about it, almost any job that is in Canada is probably better than most jobs other places. even working at a coffee shop, or even some of the things that we do, like our minimum wage is higher than most people make in other countries. I know we go to the Caribbean all the time, and the people there are doing the same jobs here. We wonder why they're not doing it to the same standards, but they're making half the money. So maybe that's part of a problem. And then of course there's the whole immigration status and how long it takes for you to become a citizen, and getting all your papers, and where do you go, and you come to the country, you have nothing, you really don't have anything to show. And even if you have experience from something else, by the time you change it into what we call our North American skill set, that might be a few years down the road. Now, I'm not saying all that's right. I'm just saying that's the reality of what it is. So, there's a lot of different things going on. There's a lot of unethical companies. There's a lot of ethical companies. There's a lot of companies who are just trying to make a buck, and it's unfortunately causing real problems in the industry. So, if you're new to Canada, then trucking is a good option. We are having a lot of problems, and unfortunately, trucking in today's world is, not necessarily kind to somebody who's new to the country, because we're all being thrown into this rhetoric of anybody of color is dangerous to the roads, and that is not true, my friends. There are some people who are not doing things right. There's a lot of training scams that have been going on, and this is where a lot of newcomers get caught in this. They don't understand the difference between professional training and all that kind of stuff. And I want to play interview I did with Haman Hassan, and he's helps people who are immigrating to the country get started in the trucking industry, and I had a chance to talk to him about what it takes to get a trucking job for an immigrant in today's world. That they will see a trucking company name, and just because of the person's color and their culture will automatically deem them as a dangerous driver. Now, some are, but not everybody is. There's a lot of good ones out there too. So we got to get away from the whole stigma of you come from a certain place, so that makes you a bad driver on our roads. Yep. Because we all make mistakes. A lot of us, even senior drivers still make mistakes once in a while. So it gets very hard to do that. I think it's a great program. I'm just wondering how we can involve people more. I struggle with the whole money thing. I've never looked at trucking for money because there's always been so much work. I never had to work, but now people are coming in, so they're not taking this on as a job of passion, which is, I love to drive. From the age of 16, I was getting my license and all of that stuff. So I love the cars and driving. So I was a good fit for that industry, but not everybody's coming in. Newcomers to Canada, I get a lot of people who want to apply from India. You can go on all the countries, wherever, even Germany, everywhere. I get people going, how do I apply to this job? They're all looking for these sponsored grants or something like that. How does that work with you guys? Do they have to be living in Canada first, or what's that take there?
Yes, for the program. So our program, this is the best way to describe it. We don't make drivers, we train them.
Right.
So in order to be a part of our training program, you need to have your AZ or DZ. And then let's talk about the eligibility criteria. Let's talk about the employer side. So because it's a provincial funding, Bruce, so any company domiciled in Ontario can be a part of the program if they have operations. So any federally regulated company with operations within Ontario, the operations in Ontario can be a part of this program. Now let's talk about the participants. So currently we're working with the Canadian citizens, we're working with peer holders, we're working with refugees. So these three streams we're working with. Plus, this program is just for company drivers, so drivers on payroll, not the owner operators. So we don't deal with them. Plus, you need to be domiciled in Ontario, 21 and over. That's the age requirement, and that's about it. If you're meeting these 4 criteria, you can participate in this program. Now, let's talk about the other question that you asked. Like, so people coming in from overseas.
Right.
So we did, as I mentioned earlier, that TVTC did a project with different trucking companies where we brought drivers. So companies out there is a term called LMIA.
Yep.
So what happens if companies trying to hire drivers and they fail to hire drivers? Then they get this permission that they can bring the talent from overseas, and then they can pick and choose the country that they want. Right. We brought drivers from India, we brought drivers from Dubai, we brought drivers from Poland in the past, and it's a really easy stream. So like employer go, they perform a work test with those folks in their countries to just gauge their talent, and then once everything goes well, there's a documentation required, and then they get their process finished within 3 months, and they land in Canada and they have a job. Now, when they land, it's an employer's responsibility to furnish with initial accommodation, job, and all that stuff. And then once they're set into the system, then they're asked to do things on their own. So this is one thing. Now, what's happening? Companies are spending a lot of money in bringing talent from overseas. Personally, this is what I believe, Bruce. We do have talent in the market, but that talent might be hidden, or we are not putting enough efforts to basically find that talent. People have been on work permit in Canada and they're trying to apply for their PR. So why they come on LMIA? Because it's a streamline to get their permanent residency eventually. People on work permit working here, it's the same thing. The good thing is about people on work permit is the company, they don't have to spend money in order to buy a ticket, go there, do the work test, bring in the talent. It's the same thing, but what's going to happen? They're going to have a person within jurisdiction, work test, job offer, and put their names. So this is one thing that I've done in the past. So if one of your viewers is a trucking company, I would highly recommend to not just put money with your eyes closed, do some research, and then if you're looking for any resources, you guys can reach out to me through Bruce. And I do have resources that I can guide you, where you can get people in Canada and they're on work permit, they're seeking their PR. It's the same stream, which is going to save you money.
Okay.
By far my favorite station. You're the best. Oh yeah, I love you guys.
All right, so that was Hamad Hassan. He's with exploretruckingcareers.com. If you want to listen to the whole interview we did there, go to episode number 1263 of the podcast, and you can listen to the whole thing there. Hey, before we go on, let me tell you a little bit about Rosedale Transport. That's right, they have opportunities and all of their terminals across North America. They have 15 terminals in all. They have over 800 employees, been around for over 50 years, a very stable company, the kind of company you want to work for, have a great safety program for their drivers. And they are looking for either local, regional, highway, or owner-operators. If you fit one of those, then reach out to the Rosedale Group. Go to rosedalegroup.com and click on the Careers tab, and you can see what opportunities are available at the time that you are looking. So we want to make sure that immigrants understand, if you are coming into the trucking industry and you are from another country and you're new to this, you need to do your homework. And I'm going to tell you, I know that you may want to listen to the people who are, that are from the country that have come here before. I would be very cautious. The one thing that I've seen here is you often think that you're coming from another country and that the people here are the ones that don't want you here, so we're pretending we're going to scam you so that you go away. what you're seeing, it's not the people from Canada here that don't want you here. We want proper people here. We want, Canada's made up of immigrants. We want you here, but we want legitimate people here. We want proper people here. On the roads, when it comes to the trucking industry, we want people who are trained properly. We want people who are invested in being professional. Everybody is on these roadways. People are coming in from different countries. I've traveled a lot in my life, and I see the way people drive in other countries. You cannot get away with that stuff here. Let me tell you, that is going to kill somebody. So even our friends from Scotland came up one time, and they go, man, the highways here are like 4 times the size of the highways in Scotland. So when you come here, it's a different type of driving. It's a different type of employment culture. It's a different type of a lot of different Canadian laws. You need to do your homework, and do not just talk to the people from your community that you're comfortable with. Talk to people outside of the community that have been in the industry for a long time and get their feedback on what needs to do. Most of the colleagues that I have in this industry are trying to help people be better. They don't care what color you are. They don't care what your background is. As long as you're here and you are vested in being professional and being safe on the roads and being an integral part of the industry, they want you here. We're all willing to help, but you need to do your part too. You need to do your homework. And I see this everything from job fairs to podcasts to everything. I see people who are kind of just come here and hope that the world's just going to fall into your lap. And that's not how it works, my friends. You need to do some homework. You need to really get vested in. All the ones, people that I see are from other countries that are successful in the trucking industry, have put the effort in, have put the time in, have put the work in to make sure that they understand exactly what's going on. They network, they research, they understand the industry, and they make sure that they're getting the right information to make the proper career choices so they can have a successful career in trucking. It is not easy, my friends. It is very difficult to have a career in trucking, but I can tell you it can be done. I've been in this industry for over 40 years, and it is a great industry if you're willing to put in the time and do things that are right. So that is the big thing right there. Hey, before we go, let me tell you a little bit about a place where you can get the proper training. If you are new to this country and you're looking to get the proper training, Ontario Truck Driving School is where you should go. They have 9 locations in the province of Ontario. They have been around since 1978, and they are a great school that is above board, doing things right, involved in the industry. You want to work and get training from a place like that. Check out their courses in heavy equipment, truck driving, and more at otds.com. Also, let me tell you a little bit about Driver Check. They do drug and alcohol testing, workplace safety, all that kind of stuff. And you know what? They're a great sponsor of our show. Check them out at drivercheck.ca if you're somebody who's in human resources, or even if you're a driver who's been asked to go and do drug testing and doesn't understand what's involved. drivercheck.ca has all the resources for you. All right, my friends, we'll talk to you later. Be good out there. Be safe. Subscribe so you can catch the next episode. We'll be talking about driver misclassification.
This has been another episode of the Lead Pedal Podcast. For more information or to subscribe to the podcast, visit theleadpedalpodcast.com and be sure to follow the podcast on Facebook and Twitter.